and or to the channel. And wouldn't you know it, all right. I just woke up like 15 minutes ago. And I forgot to turn the volumes down, so my apology. Will it go? No. Buy this stupid thing and try to get. I didn't bring the computer this week. It's a short week. It's Christmas week. And like I started off saying, I just woke up 15 minutes ago. It's being a short week. We're cramming about 90% of a week into 3 days. And with that being said, I got up and rolling early Sunday, made a delivery yesterday, and finished up yesterday by 3 o'clock with 600 miles in, and then put another 600 miles in today. I got like 9, 10 stops on the whole route. So that's about an average. A busy week's usually about 18, 19. With 10 stops, that's average. That's, you know. But I had a hustle today. I was up in the heart of the Appalachians. So I had to do the mountain pass. Luckily, the roads were good and dry. So I got up at 12:30 in the morning, logged in at 1 o'clock, got going at 10 after 1, drove pretty much that whole morning till sunrise through the Appalachians, made a delivery in south of Hagerstown at 4:15, and then got down to Roanoke in time for Ryder to open up and get fuel and make my deliveries down there, and then across over here. And I am in currently Beckley, West Virginia, at the Travel Plaza or Service Plaza, the new one there with the Tamarack. This is like the fourth time I've stayed here now, but I got here. Well, I punched in at 1, clocked out at 3, did a few things, had a snack, and I laid down for an hour and I knocked out quick. So, but if you could, as we continue on, if you could like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, help get us pushed out there. That would be much appreciated. We're not going to go into too much depth. Things of the sorts in trucking, as you know, there's many channels covering all the news. Seems like every week seems like every day of the week through the business, business Monday through Friday, companies are going out of business. Um, Again, when you look into them, a lot of them were destined to go out, and it had nothing to do with tariffs and all that. A lot of them just were over leveraged. The thing about being in business is you've got to watch yourself being backed up with banknotes, backed up being over leveraged. You want to expand your company, you should really look at the market and say, there's people out there, there's consultants out there, there's professionals that can do a macroeconomic deep dive into things and say, I'm on this. Dude, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. What's up? What's that?
Can you pull up a little so I get in, please?
Pull up.
Yes, so I get in. You can back right back, please, sir. Sorry.
Hold on, this guy here needs me to pull up. He can't. It's a foreigner because he can barely speak English, so he's trying to get into the parking spot next to me. And That all said, turn that off. Wouldn't you know it? It's like the second guy. He's the second one already tonight that has come up to me. Oh, what this cat is? He can't seem to swing wide and get this truck and trailer, and he's got a Cascadia like mine. So here we are. We had to fire the truck up, had to move up. Oh, what this? Come on, dude. He needs to do a 3 point to get in. How much more do you need? How much more room do you need, man? I'm looking at him right now in the mirror. I apologize for this. Fired up the truck to move it because some foreigner can't get his he can't swing wide enough to get into a spot, and he ain't gonna make it because he's gonna clip the other trailer. Come on, dude. How much fucking room do you need to get in? This is the shit I go through. He came over and asked me if you'd please pull ahead so he could get in. He's got it cleared. I'm blocking the roadway here, pulling back out, and I don't want no one to pull in behind me. Serious? It can't be me. It's a backup alarm. I apologize, folks. He's giving me the prayer hands to say thank you and all that jazz. So I'm not down for all the foreign drivers because of this kind of crap, but I'm not going to be a dick either. Right there. All right. So yeah. So start truck, pull it a full truck length out in the middle of the driveway here, and yeah. This guy next to me over here on the driver's side, this guy's over on my passenger side pulling in. I think he could have made it. He just needed to swing her wide and probably done a 3 point. This guy next to me is out of Detroit area. He was a little more eccentric cat. He came up, talked to me, asked me if I was going to spend the night in that because he didn't want anyone with a reefer next to him. Uh, Very flamboyant, jacket on. Pretty proud of what he's hauling. He's hauling coffee, and they haul for a NASCAR race team, and so I don't know. I didn't go into detail on it. I was trying to get tidied up so I could take a nap, but he came over, just wanted to chit chat a little bit, and I told him, man, just wanted to get, had to cut him short. I ended up passing him. He was in getting food in the service plaza. They've got it's a nice one. They gutted this place, bulldozed the whole parking lot over, and all new. So they expanded it. The parking lot, it's all new concrete, not asphalt. Brand new building. Thing of it is that I guess the old ones used to have showers here, and again, I see a lot of people jumping in. I'm at the travel center on I-77 in Beckley, West Virginia. And right behind me, I'm at the service plaza is here in front of me. And I stayed here before, but that's it right there. But that's I-77 out there. But there's that cat there. It just asked me to move. So he's walking. He gave me a wave. So I guess it would have been a different situation if he came up was being a dick, but he pleaded, so hey, that's fine. The Tamaracks right behind me. Tommy at Trucking Unfiltered has stopped there and had burgers, and they got a full restaurant up there. I don't buy my food out on the road or anything like that, Jazz. I've got two places that I stop that have house made specialties that I get, but other than that, I don't eat out. The wife made a big old crock pot full of beef stew. I finished that off last night, and then tonight I'm making chicken and rice and a chicken wrap, and I've got some butter Hawaiian rolls. So just gonna have that tonight. Um, so Christmas week, there's going to be a lot of drivers out here, and you know, if you see any drivers out there, whether you're out shopping, because you know this the season, everyone's out and about shopping and spending money. But if you do see a driver, just hey, say thanks for being out here and getting product moved even through the hustle and bustle holiday. And a lot of these guys are cutting a very tight line to get back home to, you know, get the requirements, you know, to get done like I've been doing, to get done, get home, be with their families. A lot of them want to be. Others, they sacrifice. I've done it, and I've done it two different ways. I've done it here in driving truck, and I've done it in healthcare. Healthcare, because I was single for over a decade, I was automatically elected. They're like, you don't have a family, but I had my kids. They're like, you're working Christmas Day, Thanksgiving, and New Year's. They really dumped those three on me because everyone else was married and they had obligations and that. So their big thing was, oh, here's a $25 gift card or some shit, you know, some blow hole freaking bullshit. I ended up working a lot of those holidays were 10, 12 hour days because a lot of people, Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year's, a lot of people drink. And it just seems like the people that are depressed the most during the holidays, they get their drink on, they end up getting chest pain, especially elderly people, you know, say in their 50s and 60s, they come in with chest pain. Next thing, you're bouncing between a stress test and a cath lab or cat, you know, angiogram, whatever you want to call it. I call it, you know, just going in the cath lab. Just depends on what they're going to do. They're going to go in and do an exploratory. If they see a blockage, they're going to see if they can angioplasty. Just go in, go through the clog and expand it open, or if they got to stent it and stuff like that. Um, I was more to putting in defibrillators with the doctors, putting in the pockets up here, and then running the wires down through the um, clavicle down the carotid artery and down into the heart and then into the right atrial the right atrial wall, setting them in. So pretty cool to watch first time. Then after that, and then usually you got your reps in there back then, because I know this is all changed, but either Medtronic or St. Jude's was in there programming all the devices and all that. So when you start getting into that shit on a holiday, you're gonna be there till, you know, wee hours of the night, and then get home. Usually, I got to postpone Christmas to another day to open gifts with my kids, but I've done that. And my wife and I, when I ran reefer for a couple years, that left me out working a lot of. Um, I remember one Christmas and New Year's, they sent me out west, and I spent 10 days out in Texas and Oklahoma before I got back, and that put me through Christmas and New Year's. 4th of July, Labor Day, just, you know, working right through all those holidays. So I've been there. I've sacrificed more in healthcare than I have in trucking as far as working holidays and sacrificing through um, family. You know, not being with family. What are we doing here? It's so stupid. What, my guy that asked me to move? I don't know. It's like that Haitian guy that was having anxiety panic attacks to have to drive in inclement weather. So yeah, but there's certain cities and certain states that will harbor and think this is the best thing since apple pie, but yet till one of these guys runs over their own family and they get killed by it or injured and permanently harmed in such a way, because the training is lackluster and of any initiative to teach these people thoroughly, just to crash course on CDL mills. But yeah, the holidays. So thank a truck driver and even thank a healthcare worker that's got to work the hospital. Not so much private practice, but when you're working the hospitals, which hospitals now are just corporations. That's all they are now. They're just a corporate entity for profit, and all backed with the health insurance. Everything's dictated how they get reimbursed through the insurance companies. It's a racket, and I saw it. That's why when I got let go, I said I wouldn't go back. Their bureaucracy in it and the ethics just went right off the deep end, and I said no more. I said I just couldn't stand by and keep biting my tongue on the way they practice medicine. Um, I was having a discussion with about one of our senior dogs today. We're taking the healthcare plan off him because the old boy's 14. He's had three major surgeries, and we said no more. If something happens, we just have to come to terms that this will probably be it. So I'll just give him the best life we can give him, and a loving home, and give him the best holistic or alternative care we can without doing surgery. So, anywho, I told my wife, I said it's a shame, but healthcare in this country puts a price on a human life, on what money will be spent for someone's care. So, and for some reason, they're practicing medicine without a license, health insurances, and they seem to walk around and play God all the time. So that's why I had to step out, and that's why I couldn't go into pharmaceutical sales because ethically I can't get behind and push something I have no belief in. And that reminds me, the truck's sitting weird. Nope. All right. Airbags. I did. There we go. um, Hold it forward. I didn't pop the switch for the airbags. Stop it. All this electronic crap. There. So thank someone that if you see them at a store, a Walmart driver or at a fueling station, just say, hey, thanks for being out here for the holidays. And the weather, the inclement weather, making those deliveries because this is the peak season for retail sales in trucking. Moving stuff, your Amazon crap, and you know Target, Walmart, and what have you, and of course your grocery stores are going to be busy because everyone's making holiday dinners. Just thank them. I know I'm appreciated by my wife when I walk in the door. She's just so thankful that um, I made it back home and unscathed. So it's just nice to have someone there on the other end, being appreciative that you're home, and always worrying when I walk back out the door. So and anyhow, that's what I wanted to say about the holidays this year. Is it's an industry that this country has become a consumer. The economy is a consumer nation. We are not a manufacturing nation. So being a consumer nation, um, people get pissy when their product's not at the store, when their product doesn't get delivered on time. They're barking down at the driver. They're barking down at the company or carrier that's got to get it there, and not the to really stand back and look at, did that driver have a health issue, a mechanical issue? Was there a holdup at the shipper or receiver or cross docking, to get that on the truck and moving again? Was there inclement weather? And people don't take that into consideration. They just, we've become a country so consumed in ourselves that, we become very ungrateful of the things we take for granted. That when it's taken away, um, it's like watching grown people throwing a temper tantrum like a 5-year-old toddler, or so it's, I've seen it. I've not been in a store and heard anyone ever bitch, but there are the people out there. There's those Karens out there that will find anything to bitch about. And even like, I've seen, short videos where people have gone into HOA communities, whether it's a UPS driver or maybe a FedEx driver that went in with a straight truck or a trailer on a tractor trailer, making a larger delivery with a lift gate. Of course, these people hold them up and start bitching at them outside the door. I've seen, even when I ran garbage, when I ran back in the early mid '90s, when I was doing commercial containers for waste management, and we'd have people always come out and bitch. The driver didn't dump the can all the way. The driver did this, did that, and they really, they really hated calling me and saying someone or so and so said you missed them. I'd go back. I would literally look in the can and, oh, wow, they must have thrown a bag in there, and then try to blame us for not emptying it. Dump the can. Usually 2, 4, 8, 10-yard can. Big steel cans that you'd see at restaurants. But I'd slam it, and then I'd put it right up by their back door. So when they open the back door, they'd hit the can, and I say, "Yeah, I've been here." But yeah, I just, people don't understand, and even the sacrifice when you got to leave out on Saturday or Sunday just to get to your first, to the shipper, your first stop. For me, my first stop, but getting to the receiver. I mean, after you're loaded, and then say you got to leave 2 days early to front run it. To This guy's been just driving around the parking lot here with this rig. Kind of funny, but yeah, he's already gone around the building and come back. This is the second time he's pulled in there. I don't know what he's doing or what. It's bus. That's commercial bus parking there, or Class A motorhomes. There's a couple of them that were sitting in there earlier. Yeah, we live in that country now where the mindset and the programming has really changed over the course of the last, especially 30 years, where, you know, people don't get immediate response to anything, whether it's a text, a call, because of these devices. Um, you know, Ordering Amazon off your phone while you're walking through your house, and then expecting it to be there in the next couple hours. And they just, people lose their minds on that. But, we've got, I've talked to our Amazon, UPS, and FedEx driver that comes to our house, and I thank them. And we also have water delivery for the wife's got water for her medical stuff. And I thank those guys all the time, even though sometimes they can be there at 7 in the morning, or they can be on Friday, or they can be there Saturday morning. The inconsistency of their schedule is a little frustrating, but we know when they're going to be there, kind of roundabout. But so anyhow, anybody got anything to say? Like, hey, you know, have you run into anything out on the road, good, bad, or indifferent? Like, positive, negative feedbacks. My customers this year, I've been more. I I'll tell you what. If there's companies, few companies out there that give you bonuses, but even the customers have treated me with holiday gift cards and all that this year. They just hand me a gift card, to take your wife out for dinner, and we're sitting good. Um, Very thankful for that, and I thank them all. But it's just a reflection of this past year's performance. Of what have I done for them, and two of them have said, you give like a first class limousine service of deliveries because if they're busy, I'll pull the product off the trailer, set it off to the side on the dock so it's not impeding their shipping and receiving, and then they can go and put it away. But for the most part, just stuff like that, timely, being punctual. Anyone have special plans for Christmas? Yeah, uh, we didn't do anything for Thanksgiving. We slept, didn't we? We just slept Thanksgiving Day. We didn't even do dinner. But we're planning on visiting the in-law, my in-laws, come rain, shine, or snow. We're going. My mother-in-law is getting up there in age, so we can't make excuses for not going for Christmas. But yeah, it's getting to be where our families, our parents, they're up in their 80s. They're all in their mid 80s right now, so we're kind of looking over our shoulder, like, how y'all doing out there? And we're anticipating that phone call from some aspect or another. I have both my parents. My wife still has her mother, so we're just kind of always looking over our shoulders to see how everyone's doing. It's just amazing that how much family we still have living well into their 80s and 90s. So I don't know if that's good, bad, or different for her and I, because I told her, I said, she goes, the dog's getting a little, losing his cognitive, our senior dog, wiener dog. And I said, well, in about 20, 30 years, we're going to be both fucking walking around the house like, you know, I said, one of us is going to take care of the other, or we're both screwed if it's at the same time. So, but yeah, that's why I say you got to enjoy the world we live in, and don't take trucking. And I've said this in the last few streams: is trucking should just be a way to elevate yourself into something better. For us, it was coming back in and digging out of debt. And now that we're nearly there, we're looking at, we're nearly got our hand on the doorknob that, for the exit strategy. I'd say up to a couple years, but or less. You know, one thing could lead to another, and this could be a sooner than later. But we do have an exit strategy because this isn't end all be all. Hang on a steering wheel till either your health or your license gets taken away for whatever reason. Trucking should not be a long term career. Like many others have spoke on it, and I agree. About the 10th year, I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for something else, and I'm 11 years in, 11 and a half, coming up on 11 and a half back in it. So I'm coming up on 25 years in it with 2 million miles in. It doesn't compare to a lot of guys that have been out here, but it's not the end all be all that I wanted to do in my life. I do want to be home. I want to have that time with my wife and be able to do things while her health is still allowing her, and for both of us. And that's the way you got to look at it. You just got to look at it as, get yourself, be disciplined. If you're going to get into this and make some bank, pay off your debts, hoard that money away. If you're looking to get a house, get something that's tangible and long term, shelter in place, buy a house. Don't start making a whole lot of bank and then all of a sudden you're buying $100,000 diesel pickup, and then you're buying toys and all that. Dude, you're just digging a hole worse. Then you're defeating the purpose of being out here. Get your priorities straight, pay off your debts, and get yourself a decent house. Um, you should be able to align yourself to do all that without having any issues, because by then you should be able to be working on getting a strategy, as you get yourself straightened out and aligned up. to transition into your next, job or something that's going to allow you to be home every day and have that quality time with your family and loved ones. Or if you're single, just going out and picking up and doing the hobbies you've been dreaming of doing. I did that when I was in, for the 14 years I was off from trucking and in healthcare, I took up BMX Supercross and I did that for a good portion of 10 years. And we had a blast. My son and I had a blast doing it. And I would have probably stuck with it, but father time and age caught up with me. And I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't be between extreme snowboarding and jumping around on bikes. I said, at some point, kind of running my life reckless. I said, if I get hurt bad enough, I said, I may not be able to even do this kind of work. So and then with my wife's health rearing its head, I said, it'd be best that I play it more on the safe side. So probably golfing would be more ideal for me and staying fit. She's actually taking in functional medicine and getting her health straightened out, but that's going to bleed for both of us. So she's studying, learning, and doing more that will benefit both of us because um, you only got one life, and if you're enjoying life, man, I'll tell you what, all the money in the world and all the material things can look all great, but man, I'll tell you what, cancer, heart, something comes along and takes you right and takes your feet out from under you, um, it all that doesn't mean nothing. You know, you could probably have unlimited amounts of money, but you've only got one heart and one chance of eating right and doing good for your body. If you want to see yourself living a long and prosperous life, outside of just driving, I brought up a point. The wife and I, we watched last and we just got caught up on season 2 of Landman, and I told her today. I said, look at that guy that played the character Monty, the oil company owner. Died because he needed a heart transplant. He had all the resources and all the money to get himself straightened out, and even though it's a movie and it's not real, but many people do face that. They can have all the money in the world, these actors and athletes and politicians, everyone, they've had all the availability to more health care resources than most of us middle class, or I want to say 90% of us, and yet their life comes up short. Cancer, heart, maybe it's neurological, MS or something like that. Look at MS. I think, would you say, babe, Bruce Willis, she just said he just got put in a home this week, and because of Demi Moore being on that show. And I said, yeah, that can't be too easy on the whole kids and that, watching their dad deteriorate. Dementia. He's got some kind of dementia, right, Laura? And then Michael J. Fox with Parkinson's, and I got a brother-in-law who's got MS, and he's younger than me, and he's in an electric scooter. He's struggling. So, like I said, you got one chance at this life. Take care of yourself. Um, Use a job like this to elevate yourself, but get yourself in a job that is not as stressful. It's not as time consuming away from home to where you can, enjoy your wife, your kids, your mom and dad, whatever it is that brings joy to you. Um, because really, even if you live a long life, but you're alone and you don't have a good social network, you may end up finding yourself, you know, who's going to kick the dirt on your grave? If you're that, I want to say disassociated with everyone. So, and you got to embrace life. And that's all I can say on that. It's like I've got dreams and admirations to do more than trucking and make more money than I can in trucking. So there's ways of doing it. You just got to know how to articulate and do it and put the time in. That means sacrifice, and that means not going on vacations. That means I'm not sitting and watching football and doing the chores I need to get done around the house and work on my businesses, and then spend some time with the wife, and then back. We are very close knit at home, but we don't venture out and go clubbing. We don't go out and hang out with, our friend circle is very utmost small, but that's how we've been able to, I want to say, pay off our debts and downsize. Um, and that's just sacrifices that we've made. But we've definitely been able to elevate ourselves in the last 11 years I've been back in this. And that's all you should be using it for. I mean, the first time I got so burnt out, I said, "There's got to be a better way." Well, I ended up being the chiropractor I was seeing. Convinced me to go to school to be a chiropractor in sports medicine, and that's where I was, a bachelor's degree, and then halfway in the program. But I always wondered what would the practice be doing during COVID and all that, because a lot of those people took a hard hit. Others were able to kind of nudge through and survive. But for the most part, I've watched a lot of colleagues that were physical therapists and other entities that were either furloughed or they had to go do other job duties in the hospital to fill the void because they couldn't be hands on with people during the COVID times. So, and then my sports rehab clinic would have taken a hit because then I wouldn't have been able to work on anyone, technically. So, and some people bought into the whole deal, and others just like rolled their eyes like I did. But it was what it was. But yeah, I had a good day today. Just a little tired, and here's a nice W900 right here. But yeah, anyhow. Sorry about that. Body. Body dementia. Willis has been in the home for a little bit now. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, take care of yourselves, folks. That's the first thing I'd say is you can. And they were making a point, and there's so much truth to that in real world aspect. In the Landman, that character, Monty, he was chasing to be immortal, to grow his business into something, and he killed himself doing it, stress, and all that jazz. Um, they said when I got in 25 years ago, they said the insurance companies had already seen a flip back in the manufacturing days, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when I grew up, in eastern Michigan, where it was all automotive industry and, other subcontractors of manufacturing making parts for them. And blue collar had a lot of, health insurance claims and all that. But I want to say around the late 90s into the 2000s, it became white collar because more people, as the computer got introduced and you know internet, they were seeing more um, people with sedentary lives and white collar, obese, overweight, diabetes, and high blood pressure and high cholesterol was the main factors because these people were so stressed on making deadlines in their office jobs that their health got put off and they were slow. It was just a slow death, and it took about probably by 2010, then it was a big epidemic. But they were saying there was more claims to people that have had poor health and seeking more medical attention in the white collar sector than blue collar. At least you're out, most of them out in the field. They're physically working, staying in, kind of keeping in shape. For the most part, they're moving their body around. And a lot of them, like myself here, being in the truck, you got solitude. You're not being, the only thing I got pressured. There was a survey I answered the other day, and they said, what are the key factors that, I want to say bothers you or drives, that stresses you out on, when you're working as a truck driver. And I said traffic was my number one, and number two was inclement weather, because inclement weather is just more or less a catalyst to make that traffic even worse. So that all said, that's just it. Um, nice day today. I was down here from the Appalachians down to south of Hagerstown all the way to Roanoke, just making a circle and back to Beckley. I had clear blue skies, and it peaked up to 50 degrees here. And basically, I was running the vent. I didn't run the AC, but I had the vent going. So it was a beautiful day. I was able to stay right on track and be. It was either here or the truck stop just off McCorkle Avenue, just south of Charleston. It was going to be either here or there. I knew I was going to bounce. It just depended on my drive hours. And as soon as I got on the 460 out of Christiansburg, I was like, ugh. I said I got enough to make it here, and I said that's great. Their facilities are new, cleaner, update, and accessible. That truck stop up there is their bathroom is kind of a hit and miss, whether or not they got out of order signs on everything in there. So, yeah, that's the problem I'm seeing more in truck stops now is they're, especially the Pilot and Flying J, the Loves, they're expanding. They're adding more Loves than any other chain, but they do a better job keeping their places up, their showers, their bathrooms, and all that. The Pilot and Flying J's been around for a spell, and they're just cash cowing it out. Um, the stakeholder stockholders, the shareholders into that business, and they're just letting them dilapidate, and they're not reinvesting in them, whether it's the parking lot, fuel pump upgrades, or just updating the inside of the stores, or even building out new Pilots and Flying J's. You're not seeing the expansion of those either. So not at the pace that Loves is doing. So that's the one thing, and that's the one thing that one of these real estate channels I was listening to last night. That's what she was saying was we're going to be doing. They're doing more apartment complexes. You'll see them building out. I call them Section 8 housing. So I just said it's Section 8 housing. But she made a good point, and I already knew that. And anytime those new apartments, oh, that's great. Look, new apartment buildings. It's got a pool and all that. Yeah, that's all great now. And they're cash flowing it. Don't think for 1 minute, private management companies come in, run it, or an HOA, if it's housing. But give it 10 years. Mark my words. And that was just their discussion last night. 10 years from now, these private equity and investment venture capitalists or investors that are building out these Section 8 apartments or housing, they're going to run them in the ground. This is going to be the same thing you saw 30s, 1940s, 1950s, and 60s when they were building out like post World War. They were building small homes for the soldiers coming home. They were building affordable housing or apartments. And what did those end up being? Uh, the infestation after they got ran down of where slumlords and drugs and crime and all that, and that's where it's going to go in 10 years. They're going to run them in the ground. They're not, when it comes time to have to put a new roof in, do some renovations, they're just going to be like band-aided up because they still want their profits. They want to keep their margins going. Putting money back into it is not profitable. And they'll run them in the ground, and it'll be the typical Section 8, ghetto, or they'll just liquidate them off to another company that's just going to be another slumlord. So That's where I see all these apartments being built out going in 10, yeah, 10 years is minimum. And after that, then you're just going to see everything in housing go right down. All these build outs of these multi apartment complexes that are filling farm fields or, pushing out of the city limits and all that. It's, I'm not for it. You got to let the free market just let price discovery happen by letting the free market take the reins and not the Federal Reserve and the government trying to manipulate the markets. Because Trump already said that today. Is it today or when he spoke the other day? He doesn't want to see housing go down because he doesn't want people to lose the value. That's the thing. We are on a Keynesian system of fiat currency. Our We got to go through economic cycles every 7 to 10 years. You have like 7 years of boom, 3 or more years of bust, and then back up. So we go through these highs and lows, these dips, and that's when price discovery needs to happen. You let the free market do it instead of trying to keep print money and prop everything up. That's why inflation's going up at it's such a breakneck pace that it's not healthy. Where it's just pricing out the houses for those that are trying to get in, but even the ones that are sitting on the houses, there's no buyers out there because the houses are too expensive. I'm not going to go out and buy a 1,500 square foot home for $500,000. They can go fuck themselves. Not worth it. I'll buy an RV and live in that before I ever overpay for a fucking house. Um, I told our lending officer that for our second house. I said I don't give a shit because she was talking about interest rates. I don't give a shit what interest rates are. Give a shit if they're 10%. I said I want to see another 30-40% of house reduction, price reduction on houses right now. I want to see that come down. I can always refinance down, but if I'm already buying into an overbought house or an overpriced house and it loses value at some point, and I got a high interest rate, I said I'm handcuffed to that damn prick. And so we got to be sensible of what free markets. Free markets is basically what someone is willing to pay for something and not just being manipulated by investor corps and the government, kind of keeping everything propped up. Um, so that's just a little side note there. But yeah, it goes with everything, not just housing. Housing's the biggest thing right now because it's gotten to be unaffordable. And, but automobiles and everything else. And it's just the government manipulating on things, and of course corporations um, wanting to keep their profits going. If you watch these corporations, they're lowering their guidance every quarter. If they were projected to make say $10 billion, and we're not gonna meet that 10 billion, so they lower their guidance. Say, well, we'll move the goalpost. We'll lower the standards and say, no, it's 8 billion. And if they don't make that, then it's 6 billion. But yeah, they're starting to realize that price discovery needs to happen, but they won't let the write downs happen on a commercial and residential buildings, especially investor bought residential. They just won't let price discovery happen on those, and it's frustrating to see that. But that is our government, and it's not this administration. It's all the administrations playing this game because it's that top 10% that's out there that's got the money. And that's why I've been preaching that you got to get in the business, and you got to escalate making more than just working a 9 to 5. Um, you need to be up there with the big boys, and then you need to know where to put your money to keep expanding it and rinse and repeat over and over, and keep take the equity out, invest it over here, expand that money, take that equity out, put it in this investment, and then you got all these investments or all these machines working for you, expanding your money and cash flowing you. That's the name of the game. I mean, Robert Kiyosaki's done it. Ken McElroy has done it. Just how many doors? When they say doors, how many apartments or houses do they own? And that's how they're cash flowing. And it's a game. You got to learn to play the game, so you got to study the rules. You got to study the way it's done. You don't need to go to the Wharton School of Economics and all that. It's spending money in a stupid education. It's anymore. You can learn whatever you need to learn out here. It's all available to you, and there's enough people in the industry to mentor and help guide you along the way. And but anymore, college is uh, what did they say? College? It's a business. It's became a business just like the hospitals and insurance and pharmaceuticals. They're there for profit. And if you go to a liberal school, then you're just going to get indoctrinated with a bunch of havabaloo and bullshit. It's like, do I regret? I I went to a D1 school. I got my bachelor's degree. I also have an associate's degree from a community college and in diesel mechanics. That one's done me better, but I should have went into engineering all day long. I should have went into engineering, and probably two fields that you would need to go to college for: engineering and being a doctor. Otherwise, anything else, go get certified in it through, whether it's a vocational school or night classes or even a community college. But to go to a D1 school or a bachelor's degree, they're just not worth it. My bachelor's degree is sitting back in a tote in the storage room somewhere. I don't even hang it up. I don't hang nothing of my education up. I've got maybe one day when we get our permanent house and I get out driving, I may put it up behind me in the studio when I YouTube down the road. But yeah, I mean, I take a welder, diesel mechanic, truck driver, and go to school to learn exercise physiology and chiropractic. Absolutely. If I can learn it and been good at it, you can learn anything out there. It's just applying your mind in that direction. You have to point your head in that direction, put your feet in that direction, and you got to just stay on course with it. The only problem I saw was it's a it's an industry. I fell back on my bachelor's degree to support us when I dropped out of chiropractic school. But the whole premise of going to chiropractic school was to be in my own business, set my own hours, and make as much money according to how much time I wanted to put into the practice and how I wanted to expand and articulate in it to do other specialties. Um, but to fall back on my bachelor's degree than be in a W-2 job, it's just, oh man, I'll tell you what. And the RNs on the floors get so beat up and screwed over so bad in a hospital setting. It is ridiculous. You need, if you're going to be an RN, then start looking at being in a specialty of it, nurse practitioner, anesthesiology in nursing, or some shit like that, where you're going to make a good, healthy 6 figures a year, or even a physician assistant with some specialty. But man, just to go in and say, I just want to be a nurse, or I just want to be an X-ray tech, a dime a dozen, and you're expendable. That's what I saw, was a lot of people are expendable. If they don't want your specialty, they'll just lay you off like they did with me, and then they'll just take the receptionist down at the office and have her do some of your work, cross train them. And yeah, they weren't having that either, and they lost a lot of people when I left over that, dumping more workload. That's the thing about working in healthcare too, is you get dumped on more and more workload of other people's work because they won't hire people or staff to help cover. So you're running around doing the work of three people or more, and it stresses everyone out. That's why, like I said, white collar jobs are just, health rise is so bad over blue collar anymore. So, and my wife would attest to that. I'd come home and I'd nearly have a stroke, just ready to rail someone from the hospital, and well, she knows. And then here I am in the truck, and da, 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 da. The only time I may get a little fired up is usually inclement weather, she knows if I'm in inclement weather, she'll wait and talk to me at the end of the day to see how things went. But that or traffic. But for the most part, a fraction of getting worked up compared to working in healthcare. So yeah, you got to pick your poison. I'd say job shadow. I've told many people go shadow someone in that field before you decide to step into that field. Find out everything you need to know of your duties, your hours, what's required of you, and the pay. Because you're going to spend $80,000 to $100,000 on a freaking bachelor's degree, and you're only getting paid 40, 50,000 a year. You might want to rethink your have a mental negotiation on your career decision going ahead and doing something else. Because it's pretty sad now when people that change the plastic liners and the trash cans at McDonald's makes as much as many healthcare workers. So that's just my side note. That's just me thinking out loud. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being home. I should be home no later than early Thursday morning or Wednesday morning. I'm sorry, Wednesday morning, if not home tomorrow night, depending on how the traffic goes. I've noticed there's an uptick of traffic. A lot of people are coming from south. When I was on 81 and 77 here, when it came up out of Princeton off the 460 coming up, there's a lot of Florida, Georgia, North Carolina plates heading north. So people are probably heading up to the New England states where they probably transplanted down south and they going home up north or in the New England states to visit family for the holidays. So going to be a lot of traffic. That's why I want to get home early too, because this Wednesday's just going to be a shit show. Whether commuting in the car or if you're flying by plane, that's just. I wouldn't even get on a plane this time of year right now. The way these airlines are operating, man, I don't know what it is, but these guys are going through. They got barricades and everything. See, they got that semi truck right there. He's cutting through all the car parking lot. Yeah, that's like the third one since I've been on the stream that has done that. And they got barriers. They're saying all trucks to the right and come in, and then you got Habib here. And it's a Volvo. Just like, oh, and there's a car hauler right behind them. I guess they can't follow directions. So makes you wonder if they can't follow simple directions to get into the parking lot correctly with commercial vehicles, then you wonder what's going on out on the big roads and your safety in mind. So, but I've been on here for about an hour, folks. Just thank a driver out there, and you know, even if it's after Christmas, but just keep them in mind that a lot of them are not going to be home to watch their kids open presents. A lot of them are out here during birthdays. I'll tell you, I've missed all kinds of birthdays, and I've missed how many? I missed your dad's funeral, Laura, but then that was COVID, so there was a limit, but that's still not an excuse. But I was on the road during my father-in-law's funeral. I was on the road for a couple other funerals, wasn't I? No, Chris's. I was out here, but we did take time for Brad's. But I've missed funerals, birthdays, a lot of holidays, whether driving or being in healthcare. So, you know, there's those that you miss too, besides Christmas, New Year's, and Thanksgiving. You're going to miss a lot of other milestones or other events in life. So thank these guys. Not me. I'm thankful I'm out here. I've got myself positioned to where I want to go. We're just ready to. We're just getting prepared. I guess just cocking back the slingshot and getting ready to let go. But I'm just thankful for this company and for the opportunity to be back out here just to elevate us. But that's what you should be doing. And just count your blessings and be thankful every day if you are working and you're not struggling and you're able to put a little bit of money in the bank to cushion yourself for a rainy day fund. Whether your furnace goes out in your house, your car breaks down or something, that you've got some reserve capital to go and take care of things without over leveraging yourself with a credit card or another bank note. So keep all that in mind. Um, Count your blessings, be thankful. You know that you woke up, you're breathing, and you're upright. So that's the best I could tell you. And we all need to start appreciating each other. Instead of being against each other and making it difficult, it takes more energy to be in that mindset than it is to just be generous. It's like this gentleman here, right at the beginning of the live stream, he begged me and he just said, please, could you move forward? I think he could have done a better job, but I am not going to go out there and coach him on how to pull into a parking spot. So yeah, I pulled a whole truck length pulled out of my parking spot a whole truck length and back in, so he could get in, and that's great. Then he's safe. He's walked by, waved at me again earlier when he had his food. So it's just you can't sit and hold judgment on people. I just thought, he could have tried a little harder, but maybe he's new. Who knows? I don't know his story. So, but I complied and worked with him so he could get in and not be stressed out being parked somewhere that he shouldn't be. So, but anyhow, folks, one last thing. Miss Laura and I are going to do something on Wednesday. We got to get on the road Thursday, Christmas Day, to go visit family. But Wednesday, we're going to do something in the shop. I'm going to pull one of the vehicles out. She's going to be my camera girl. And I like to do something for at least an hour and let you guys chime in and just shoot the shit out there of just anything random. So if you guys want to do that, I'm down for that. And most of the snow is melted, so we've come into some breaking weather there. So, but we'll be out in the shop on Wednesday after I get settled in from being in here, and come at you guys live during the day, and I don't know, ask some questions that aren't trucking related or any jazz like that, and be more than happy to do that. So the following week, New Year's Day and New Year's weekend, I have a detailing. I got a gentleman that's he loves his Buicks, and so I'm giving it the full cut, polish, ceramic coat, engine detail, carpets, leather. Everything's gonna get deep clean and ceramic coated on the leather, carpet, and vinyl surfaces. So I got to go through it bumper to bumper. He wants it fully done. So he's a repeat customer, so I've got quite a few of those. And when they flip and get new cars, they give me a call right away so they can get a protection on it. So I've got that coming at me in another week. So always something going on, but that's the way I like life. Just enjoy the fact that we've got cash that we can at least put food on the table and cover our medical bills and have shelter in place. So that's the main importance to us, and keeps us going and keeps our stress levels down. So appreciate y'all being here. If not after the fact, after the live stream, coming back and watching it again. Check us out Wednesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. Should be coming at you. I'll try to send up in the community post, put something there, and spend about an hour or less. See if you guys are interested in that. So we'll be out in the shop at home. Got all my detailing stuff. Got the golf cart, truck, anything I see in the shop. You want to ask questions about? Um, we have built. When you look in there, that Dodge Ram was a salvage title Ram. The wife and I built that. The golf cart was a golf course golf cart. That's got an 8-inch lift, painted and all that jazz. We built that too. So with that, everything going on, jump into that live stream on Wednesday. Well, Wednesday morning. I'll shoot you guys a community post on roughly about what time we're gonna do that at, and we'll bring that to you. And let's have a conversation where we can talk about some other off-topic subjects that isn't worldly. So take care, be safe, continue educating yourself. Knowledge is learned and not taught. And have a blessed and Merry Christmas coming up this week.